They said it was impossible to raise a wolf a home, especially one abandoned by its mother. But what happened when a young girl defied nature's rules? The bond they formed shocked even the experts. Wolves, they're wild, fierce, and meant to roam free in the wilderness. At least, that's what everyone believes. But what if one act of compassion could challenge everything we think we know about them? This story begins with a tiny, abandoned wolf pup, left for dead by its mother. Weak, helpless, and barely clinging to life, this pup had no chance of survival until a young girl decided to take matters into her own hands. Sophia didn't see a predator. She saw a fragile life worth saving, even if it meant going against nature's rules. But what happened next wasn't just about survival. It became a story that blurred the lines between human and wild, love and instinct, loyalty and freedom. You won't believe how this tiny creature changed her life forever. Stay with me, because what unfolded will leave you speechless. It all began on a bitterly cold winter morning in the remote forests of Montana. Sophia, a 16-year-old with a passion for animals, was out hiking with her dad. The snow crunched beneath their boots, and the icy air stung their faces. As they trekked deeper into the forest, an unexpected sound stopped them in their tracks, a faint, almost desperate cry echoing through the trees. Curious and concerned, they followed the sound to a snowy den partially hidden by fallen branches. Peering inside, they discovered a litter of wolf pups huddled together for warmth. At first glance, they seemed fine, but then Sophia noticed something heartbreaking. One pup, significantly smaller and weaker than the others, lay off to the side, shivering and struggling to breathe. It was clear. The mother had rejected it. Sophia's heart broke. She couldn't just walk away and leave the tiny creature to die. "Dad, we have to help it," she pleaded. Her dad, however, wasn't so sure. Bringing home a wild animal, especially a wolf, was no small decision. "Sophia, it's not like rescuing a kitten," he cautioned. "Wolves aren't meant to live with people." But Sophia wouldn't take no for an answer. "If we leave it here, it's going to die," she said firmly. Her dad sighed, seeing the determination in her eyes. Against his better judgment, he finally agreed, and they carefully wrapped the fragile pup in his jacket to shield it from the biting cold. The real challenge began when they got home. The pup was so weak that it barely moved, and it refused to eat anything they tried to offer. Sophia spent hours researching how to care for a wild animal, trying everything from puppy formula to goat's milk warmed to just the right temperature. Their neighbors were quick to voice their concerns. "A wolf is no dog," they warned. "It's dangerous, unpredictable. It belongs in the wild." But Sophia didn't see a threat. She saw a vulnerable baby that needed love and protection. What she didn't realize was just how much this decision would test her patience, her family's support, and her belief in the impossible. The first night with Shadow was pure chaos. The tiny pup cried incessantly, his high-pitched wails filling the house. Nothing Sophia did seem to calm him. She tried wrapping him in a blanket, humming lullabies, and even letting him sleep in her arms. But Shadow refused to eat and squirmed constantly, his little body trembling from fear and cold. The minutes felt like hours as she struggled to comfort him. Finally, after hours of trial and error, she discovered the solution: warm goat milk. It had to be at just the right temperature, not too hot, not too cold. To her relief, Shadow lapped it up eagerly, his tiny tongue flicking at the bottle as if he had been starving for days. That moment gave Sophia hope that maybe, just maybe, she could save him. Sophia decided to name him Shadow. The name felt right, as he would follow her everywhere, sticking close to her like a second shadow. From the start, it was clear that raising Shadow wouldn't be like raising a dog. His instincts were raw, his personality untamed. At first, he was quiet and timid, but as the days passed, his wild side began to emerge. Shadow chewed relentlessly on furniture, shoes, and even the corners of the walls. No matter how many chew toys Sophia gave him, nothing seemed to satisfy his need to bite and tear. He also growled at strangers who visited their home, his instincts kicking in to protect his newfound territory. Sophia's parents were at their wits' end. "Sophia, this isn't working," her mom said one evening after discovering a shredded couch cushion. "We can't have a wild animal living here." But Sophia refused to give up. She knew Shadow wasn't a lost cause. He just needed understanding and patience. She spent hours researching wolf behavior, devouring articles, videos, and even contacting wildlife experts online. She learned that wolves were highly intelligent, but operated on trust and respect rather than obedience. Punishment wouldn't work. It would only create fear. Instead, Sophia began rewarding Shadow's good behavior. Whenever he obeyed a command, she offered treats or affection. Slowly but surely, Shadow began to understand boundaries. He stopped chewing on furniture and became less aggressive toward strangers, though his protective instincts never fully faded. Months turned into years, and Shadow grew rapidly. By his first birthday, he was no longer the fragile pup Sophia had rescued. He was a majestic young wolf, larger than most dogs and brimming with energy. Despite his size and strength, he remained fiercely loyal to Sophia, following her everywhere and even sleeping by her bedside. Their bond was unshakable, but one incident tested it like never before. During a walk in the neighborhood, a neighbor's aggressive dog lunged at Shadow. Instinct told Sophia to brace for a fight, but to everyone's astonishment, Shadow didn't retaliate. Instead, he stood his ground, calm but assertive, and let out a low growl that sent the dog running. That moment was a revelation for Sophia. Shadow wasn't just a wild animal living in their home. He had become a member of the family, understanding not only boundaries, but also love and loyalty. Sophia realized that Shadow's instincts hadn't been erased. They had been reshaped. Through trust, patience, and understanding, she had turned what seemed impossible into a reality. Shadow wasn't a pet or a wolf trapped in a human world. He was something more, a bridge between two very different worlds. The defining moment in Sophia and Shadow's journey came 2 years after that fateful rescue. By then, Shadow was a fully grown wolf, majestic and powerful, but still as loyal as ever. On a sunny spring weekend, Sophia and her family decided to go camping deep in the Montana wilderness. It was Shadow's first time back in the wild since his rescue, and he seemed to thrive in the open air, his instincts sharp and his movements graceful. One afternoon, as Sophia and Shadow hiked ahead of the group, something unexpected happened. The forest, which had been alive with the sounds of birds and rustling leaves, suddenly grew eerily silent. A low growl rumbled through the air, sending a chill down Sophia's spine. Before she could react, a massive bear emerged from the thicket, its sheer size and presence overwhelming. It wasn't just a curious bear. It was agitated, its sharp eyes locked on Sophia. She froze, her mind racing. Running wasn't an option. Climbing a tree wouldn't save her. Her heart pounded as the bear took a step closer, growling louder, its intentions unclear but undeniably dangerous. Shadow reacted before she could. With a deep, guttural growl, he stepped in front of her, his body rigid and fur bristling. His stance was fearless, his amber eyes locked onto the bear's every move. He bared his teeth, letting out a warning snarl that echoed through the silent forest. Sophia could barely breathe as the two animals faced off. Shadow, dwarfed by the massive bear, didn't back down for a second. For what felt like an eternity, the bear seemed to weigh its options, its eyes shifting between Shadow and Sophia. Then, almost as suddenly as it had appeared, the bear let out a huff and retreated into the woods, disappearing into the dense trees. Sophia dropped to her knees, overwhelmed by what had just happened. Shadow turned to her, his expression calm but watchful, as if to say, "You're safe now." In that moment, he wasn't just a wolf. He was her protector, her guardian, and her best friend. Shadow had risked his life without hesitation, proving that love and loyalty could transcend even the wildest instincts. Today, Shadow is 5 years old, a loyal companion, and still by Sophia's side. He's won over everyone who once doubted him, including the neighbors who had once called him dangerous. Even animal experts described their bond as unusual and remarkable, but to Sophia, it's simply love, a connection that defies expectations. Raising a wolf isn't something she'd advise for everyone. It demands endless patience, deep understanding, and relentless dedication. But for Sophia, Shadow isn't just a wild animal. He's family. Their story is one of trust, loyalty, and a reminder that some boundaries are meant to be broken. If Sophia and Shadow's incredible bond moved you, don't stop here. Hit the subscribe button to join us for more heartwarming stories and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't miss our next video, where we explore the extraordinary connection between a dog and a stranded hiker that will leave you amazed.